Good morning. We're back in Italy, and so for my first reading, I think it's only right that we do a general. What have I got here? Picked up a slightly random bunch of cards. Oh, that's good. And then there's those. Okay. Let's do it live. I'm going to do Celtic Cross live, so it'll take. This is for the general. What you're feeling like generally is the Seven of Spades, Seven of Swords. Sorry, it's because it's an Italian pack. They say spade. Seven of Swords. Feeling a bit worried internally about losing your power. Okay, so how that makes you act on the outside is the King of Pentacles. It's an interesting depiction. He looks quite sneaky too, doesn't he? He's creeping around the side of... So it's like you feel a little bit under threat, or in the possibility of you giving your power away is there. And so what you do is you go into kind of preservation mode by camouflaging yourself somehow and thinking about long-term gain. Gosh, at the basis of this reading is the Tower. Something's happened that, for the collective that's watching, that has made them feel as if things aren't based on the right foundations. Something short, sharp, a shock that makes you feel as if things are not stable. Well, they're not stable, they need to be rebuilt again in the right way. In the recent past, we've got the High Priestess. I'm just looking at these illustrations because they're slightly different to me than the new deck. Those palm leaves are really sticking out to me. They're almost like feathers or gifts that are kind of moving towards her, and half her face is old and half is young. So there's this kind of ancient wisdom and all times connected. So there's maybe the reason that things are this, that you're feeling so defensive and that things have not continued on the right foundation well, either you've realised it through your High Priestess, and that's what's sort of bringing in this almost like paranoia or shakiness, or your High Priestess has gone into action because of threat. Right, one potential outcome is the sun. That's so beautiful. So perfect as we're sitting here for sunrise. You can see it coming up there. I wonder if I press on the screen. Oh, so lovely. This one I think is lovely. You've got the little boy running through the field and all the massive optimism of those sunflowers. And then in the middle we have some sort of Egyptian god. He's got that Egyptian symbol. Is it called the Ankh? So being led by some sort of ancient Egyptian sort of guide somehow, as if they've turned up and want to be part of your story. I can make it focus now here. Yeah. So why can't I get rid of focus on that? Strano. So I might have to, this is so annoying, I might have to wipe the... Excuse me. Let's see now if I get it to focus. Did I do a fixed focus? There we go. So he is, again, he looks in quite a defensive mode, doesn't he? But this is a beautiful outcome, the sun, creating something with guidance after this difficult time when things don't seem like they fit so well. Going into a period of optimism because you feel as if something kind of quite ancient has got your back, which is lovely. And coming up in the near future, we've got the Page of Pentacles. Now, a lot of these cards, they have a sort of robotic face and hand. This is one of them. Like a mask almost. And look at that badger behind. So the Page of Pentacles, traditionally the way I think of it, is very kind of studious and the good kid in the class, never causing trouble, putting their head down. Pages are about messages and they're a youthful energy and about learning. And so here what it would be saying is that you're using that kind of very diligent part of you. You are hidden. You are still hiding something. You're still under the kind of tutelage of the King of Pentacles, who's kind of creeping around that tree and using his sort of avatar of the stag a little bit. Here you've got the badger, very aligned to nature. The badger doesn't mind using a bit of aggression, so it tells me that you might be feeling quite punchy still while you learn something new coming up after this fall, after this rebuilding, when the rebuilding needs to happen. All right, then your attitude. The Hermit. I'm just, because these, as I said, these aren't so familiar to me. Just looking, so there's something behind her again, a spirit. She seems to be on a battlefield, hand on the earth. Her necklace around her neck is raised up in flames, and she's finding the right course for these warriors. It's a really warring deck, this. I didn't really ever notice that before. Maybe it's just the cards that we're getting today, collective. But do you see all those people that seem to be in some sort of battle or on a campaign of some sort? And the Hermit is sort of hand on the earth, but with that spiritual connection behind. And the guiding necklace is up in flames, sort of a passionate direction being led through a connection to nature. Is that so your attitude is, I feel passionately that I can bring my best to this conflict potentially, or this difficult situation, but I'm going to be connected to the nature while I do it, and I'm going to have my guides connected too, and it feels as if it could be helpful to other people as well because of all those other souls. Hermit's usually on its own, so it's interesting that your path this time involves others, and your home environment is the Ace of Swords. Clarity, clear, positive thoughts, those yods of blessings coming down, very, very clear, very certain about what you need to get done now and what needs to happen now, and a very clear new idea around your home environment, which is interesting. And your hopes and fears are the Four of Swords. You want a bit of a rest. I'm not surprised with all of this going on. So the Four of Swords has all his chakras aligned, indicated by the positions. That this one is over his third eye, his throat chakra and his heart chakra. And then the one at the bottom aligns all of the spine. It's strange. It's making me, yeah, that's interesting. I wonder whether I've had an experience recently of getting a lot better physically. I have a condition and I've been receiving wonderful massage, and it's moved the fascia around my spine as much as anything else, I think, and feels like it's moving very stuck sort of patterns. So maybe that's something that somebody could have some help with, because of course emotions get stored in there as well. And what I like about this, it's reversed. Normally we look at the character is facing the other way. Is that true? No, maybe not. Well, we'll find it in a minute. Yes, he's just here. No, he's facing in the same direction. That's strange. He was just the second card down in another pack. But, so look at the windows here. So here we have a kind of biblical scene with Mary giving some help to a beggar in that window. Healing them in that window. And here, there's a unicorn and dragons, and they seem to be facing each other. And then a man and a woman, possibly, facing each other with the sun and the moon. And then one dragon going through the land. at the bottom. This talks to me about ley lines, dragon lines, obviously. Not obviously, for me this is what it makes me think of. And so it feels as if there's a sense in which not only do you want to be aligned and all the fascia moved and the old emotions taken out, but you're kind of connecting to something quite ancient in the land, where maybe our roots of the way energy and magnetic energy pulses through various lines are being disrupted, possibly. Look at data centres and where they're being built. Look at the fact that churches in London certainly are having towers, the receivers that help these kind of amazing devices work, put into the spires. I've seen it with my own eyes in a church I'm very connected to. This isn't paranoia, and was told that actually any spire that they can fit them in, they will do it. And they're often hidden. You know how you'll have a steeple and then underneath a room, that's where they're putting them. And for me, that is strangely, maybe it's going to amplify our natural magnetic lines. Maybe it's going to help them. Do we think that? I don't know. I kind of want nature in charge. I want the gentle rhythms and the unbelievably sophisticated energy ways that we've always lived under, and Gaia and Goddess and all of the rest of it. Anyway, so your hopes and fears are to be realigned yourself, to be healed after this kind of tricky time, but also for Earth particularly, maybe for somebody particularly, or some people. And then the outcome, wow, the Nine of Pentacles. So this is a really sunny reading because we've got the Sun and now the Nine of Pentacles as the actual outcome. So Sun was the potential outcome. And the Nine of Pentacles is a card where everything kind of comes back to you, where you start to sort of tame the wild bird of your intuition and your ability to get things done. And I don't see a bird here. Instead, she has the stag. So normally she has a bird on her hand. Here, the stag that's standing up there is now there, calm, not in fight or flight mode, which it looks like in the first picture, but calmly grazing, doing its own thing. It's fun for me because it kind of feels like a bit of a kind of jokey echo of what goes on here sometimes, which is behind me. In that field, quite often I'll have deer walking through first thing in the morning. None this morning when I came down, but it feels a bit like what I'm doing, kind of sitting here quietly on my own, because the Nine of Pentacles is a solitary card, but one of great happiness, where everything is at one, and that you're really in your Garden of Eden, like I am here, and but it particularly talks about sort of great success in what you do and money. So let's hope that for all of us. And I love that the stag is really relaxed. It's not on guard. It's when I'm here, the deer will be. If I'm here for like 2 weeks and they start to get used to me, and they're still on this route for water or whatever in the morning, they will start to ignore me. But initially, they'll get a bit skittish, obviously. So there's something lovely about how relaxed the stag is. And she's reading her book. What else can I see? And all this wealth available to her in the vines. So it's this card of great sort of settled happiness and wealth and contentment and achievement, really. So it's beautiful. Right, let's cap this. We're going to cap anything particularly you want to point out or add to this reading for the collective around. Oh, so we got the King of Pentacles again, and it's landed right on the King of Pentacles, which is how you're acting in the outside. And what a contrasting image. So in this one, King of Pentacles, the first one, he's got his stag on high alert, and he's etching a pentacle into the tree as if to say, I will remain, I will stake my claim to this place when I'm a bit under threat. Oh. beautiful bird just up there. A jay came and talked. Jays are talking, I can't remember what they call them here, but you know those lovely birds with the blue and white feathers that you sometimes find. And they're a symbol of talking. So it's quite interested. It sat above me and looked at me. So we've got it sort of furtively, and with its mask on, the King of Pentacles here is saying, I stake my claim, I'm not giving up, I'm connected to nature and all around, and I will look after those, because I feel there's something sneaky going on. And yet here, he looks very happy and in command. Nothing's going to take his power away. He's holding lightly onto the pentacle. He's got a bull on his tunic, and everything feels much more comfortable. So I think it's saying, which is the way we'd expect to see the King of Pentacles, really. I think it's saying that your journey takes your King of Pentacles, your sense of wealth for the whole, and being able to look after everybody. It suddenly comes online, and you're back into a kind of healed state after that wishing for your Four of Swords moment. I think I'm going to get some Rider Waite. And what we got here? Knight of Pentacles now. All the Pentacles. This is a time of sort of solid, secure wealth. We've got the Nine of Pentacles, two King of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles. It's sort of saying to me, from a period of really disruptive, ruled by the Tower, maybe it's the kind of aftermath of what we went through in 2020, leaving everything a bit shaky for a while, or maybe you had a personal shock. But from that is some sort of security is coming, and now we're in steady Eddie mode here, getting ready to plant that pentacle into that field and really put some consistent action and love and daily attending into how we grow this great wealth for us and our community. It's really nice where it's gone. And let's not forget this character here in the sun. The little boy's in the bottom, but who's that? Is it the Ra? Well, it must be Ra, the sun god. There's a church in Garden of the Heart. Garden of the Heart has got in here as an extra to this pack. It shouldn't be here. There's a church in London called St Bartholomew's the Great, and there's been some sort of activity, largely church-based, but sometimes a printing press, sometimes pubs and all sorts of kind of workshops and things there for 900 years. So I think it was established in, what would that make it, 100 something. Anyway, you do the maths. And Ra here was the possibly court jester sort of character, or possibly just a good person in the court of the king at the time. And he went off, he was the person that established this church. He went off to Italy, actually, got malaria and prayed for healing. And when he received healing, what he had said is, heal me, and I will make you a church, and I will make you a hospital. And we still have St Bart's Hospital, and we still have the church, which is really beautiful. But I like that Ra here established it. I wonder what that is. I don't know, because I've got the mic on, you might not be able to hear it. There's some sort of squeaking going on. I don't know what that would be. Anyway, so Ra here, sun here. It's not what it's meant to be, I'm sure, but for me that's what it feels like. It established that church, and I think that church is wonderful, and I feel personally very grateful to it for various reasons. And so maybe you want to think about the deep connection behind churches that might be about kind of Mary line energy, Magdalene energy. It might be about ley lines. it might be about where the spiritual magnetic lines or previous worship has been in these places, and connection to nature always, which would have been our first way of worshipping, obviously the stars and the sun and the goddess and the nature spirits. So maybe that will be helpful to you. And here we've got Under My Umbrella, number 20. That's quite an animal, isn't it? Looks a bit like one of my pigeons. It's not quite, because the beak is more parroty. So let's read the little book. I've got pigeons that are, I suspect, giving birth to a second lot of babies at the moment, but I've watched the first lot on my window because they did it right next to the window pane, so it was like having your own viewing platform. And I now have these two lovely teenage pigeons that sit around up there. And it's funny, maybe this is something to do with the story, but people will often say, have you become that kind of old batty pigeon lady? And I'll laugh. But actually, yesterday on my way out here, I was served a beautiful post from an Iranian woman who, I'll try and remember to find her, and I haven't looked at her other post, but because it was served up to me, but she's trying to sort of establish Iranian herbal wisdom again on her post. And she talked about her mother feeding the pigeons in London, where they live now. And I assumed it was London, maybe it was America, it looked like London. And how in Iran, in places like Isfahan, they would have had giant towers to pigeons, not to tame them, but just to honour them, and they would have fed them there and used the droppings as compost for their goods, but that they were revered, that they were understood to have been an ally of ours. Is that the kind of... And it's interesting, pigeons use magnetic pulses to help them navigate. Sometimes it's through sight, and they think a lot of the time it's through magnetic lines on the earth which allow them to get home. There's something about returning home to this secure place of the Nine of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, to return nature home somehow, to revere her, not to think of pigeons as flying rats or people who are interested in them as maddies, but think about the fact that why wouldn't we revere these creatures that have worked in cooperation with us all this time, and that are beautiful. So, and I didn't know what this was, but number 20, I really didn't know what this was, Under My Umbrella, and it says compassion, care, friendship and protection. It's exactly what we were talking about, caring for those pigeons rather than hurting them. And a man is perched on the back of a giant parrot. He's holding an umbrella which keeps the bird dry from the rain. Oh my goodness, that's so strange. I genuinely didn't know that. I mean, obviously the image says it, but I'm thinking, it made me immediately think of helping my pigeons. This man is happy to help. He does not fear climbing on the big bird or a possible nip from her sharp beak. He's optimistic that his small umbrella is good enough to protect the bird from the weather. He is a true friend, aware of the power of a helping touch or a smile to brighten someone's day. In turn, he is rewarded with a burst of colour in his own life. Oh, I find that so moving, because as I've spent, I don't know, it's been from sort of March that the pigeons have been, there doing this thing, and I've watched these, and we're now in June. It's been so lovely. It's kind of totally changed my relationship to London in a way. I mean, I've always liked pigeons, but I've not really thought about them much. But now I'm aware of what they're doing above me, wherever I am. I went to Glastonbury Tour, and they were all up in the tower above me. So it was kind of fun that I left my baby ones and saw that they were all nesting there. In the cold wind of earlier on in this year, they were all sort of up there on this ancient site. That's interesting, isn't it? Maybe birds and their magnetic ability to go along these ley lines are sort of important to watch. And now I see them everywhere in London, and what they're doing and how they're watching us. They really watch us. So my ability to be kind to them has given way to something really lovely for me, because I've got this now relationship with these creatures that live everywhere, that I can have a deeper sort of sense of connection to. So I think that's really lovely. That's it. I haven't bought any more. Thought I bought more decks, but I think that's a beautiful way to finish the reading. It's like, take care. The King of Pentacles, who we've got twice, really takes care. That's his whole thing. He looks after himself, but also others. So take care in order to sort of open out this healing. And on the plane I was reading about this idea of being lucky, and that if the first principle that we'd got to in the book was something to do with be kind to yourself, tend to yourself. If you're eating on your own, eat a beautiful meal, maybe buy yourself some flowers if you can't afford that. Make something simple with care. Present yourself in a way that is careful. It makes you more lucky, this neuroscientist from Japan was saying, because it if others perceive you in a certain way, you are calming your sense of. That's exactly it. You're calming. I can't remember what he called it. I'll have to put it in the notes. You're calming yourself down to the point that you feel at home. That's exactly how he put it. There's something that goes on in the brain. He was talking about neural processes. And when you are tending to yourself, looking after yourself, thinking about what your needs are, you finally feel as if you've come home, which then allows you to be ready for all the opportunities, allows you to be in a very sort of calm, receptive state that allows you to receive the luck that's there. Is there anything else on that I meant to say? Or receive the opportunities, act calmly, like all of these, like the Knight of Pentacles, like the second version of the King of Pentacles. Your nervous system is calm, you've looked after yourself, you've tended to yourself first and then to everything else. That's the deer. You can hear it. Where is the picture? Where's the one with the deer in the background? Oh. Wow, I hope you can hear it because I've got the microphone on. Maybe it blocks it. Where's the one with the deer? The big stag in the background. Ah, here, yeah. Where you're ending. That's him talking as I'm saying it. There he is. I really hope that's being picked up. I can't believe it wouldn't be because it's so loud. It's like he's saying, yeah, it's an underlying to this message. Yes, stay the course. Care to your nervous system. Care for your nervous system, and then all the bounty comes, then the luck, because the Nine of Pentacles, Nine of Cups is really lucky, but the Nine of Pentacles has sort of got all of this goods, this feels lucky, it feels very abundant, and he's really talking to us about this, so it's underlining that idea of tending to yourself first, always making yourself feel comfortable so that you can arrive in the body, so that you can be ready, arrive in the body, arrive in the earth, that you can be ready to look after and receive everything and you don't feel under attack anymore. Okay, see here. Oh, I don't want to stop while he's talking. I hope he's okay. This could, of course, be because I'm sat in his field and they haven't seen me for a while. Might be the mum. No, I think it was meant to emphasise that point. So lovely to see you again.